Good evening, everyone. I will call to order at 6 o'clock this regular meeting of the Winooski City Council. We will start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Deputy Mayor Oakley.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor. All right, our next item is agenda review. Councilors, anything on the agenda you would like changed or have comment on?
No.
No? No? All right.
I guess we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next item is public comment. This time is reserved for comments and questions on topics that are not included on the agenda tonight. If you have any comment that you would like to make on an agenda item, just ask that you wait until then. That said, if you would like to make any other public comment, anyone in the room, step right up.
Good evening, councilors, mayor. I want to start off by introducing myself. I'm Lucas Peltier, a resident, obviously, in the La Fountain Street corridor. And thank you to all of you for all of the ways in which you serve our community. And just a couple of quick items that I wanted to bring up. The first being, I wonder what the possibility of implementing daylighting at intersections would be. And if you're unfamiliar with the concept of daylighting, it's basically just removing the parking spots that are nearest to intersections to increase visibility and reduce points of conflict with different modes of transportation. It's been implemented in other places with success in increasing public safety. And in that same kind of topic, I'm wondering if it's possible to implement some shorter term traffic calming measures, particularly in the La Fountain Street corridor and the Spring Street corridor, to combat excessive speeding and reckless driving. It's a neighborhood that is filled with families and elderly, disabled, everyone, and it's close to the school, so I think it would be a net benefit to consider all safety options. And just one last item is I wonder if it would be possible to implement some industrial-sized secure compost bins throughout the city, like New York City has some major cities have some, and I know that wildlife is an obstacle when it comes to waste disposal, but if it's something that can help us live out the values that we embody, then maybe it's something to that's worth thinking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucas. Appreciate those comments.
Yeah.
They fall mostly in John's area, but they just came right up, so I don't know if he would have a comment on them at this time. But it seems like some items that would be left for council to decide as opposed to an operations situation.
Yeah, if your email address is on there, we can follow up. There's a few things you might be happy that we're pursuing, especially on the Fountain Street side. The other ones might have to go to the Infrastructure Commission, take a look at.
Great, thank you, John. Thanks, Lucas. Any other public comment in the room? All right, anybody online, if you have public comment, if you would please use the raise hand button. All right, seeing no public comment there. We'll move on to our next item, which is our consent agenda. So on the consent agenda today, we have approval of the City Council meeting minutes of October 15th, approval of payroll warrant from September 28th to October 11th, approval of accounts payable warrant from October 15th, approval of a library committee appointment of Dana, Visor, approval for the Halloween and Winooski event permit approval, and also approval for Winooski Small Business Loan Fund Main Street Construction Impact Loan Program Tier 3 application. Councilors, any concerns with the consent agenda?
Do we want to remove the minutes? I'm not sure if our newest counselor is able to vote on the remainder, if we have to wait until after the regular agenda item.
I think our newest counselor would want to abstain from all of
Okay.
these items at the moment. Okay. But thank you for pointing that out.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, in that case, I will seek a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved. Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those abstaining? All right, thank you. All right, on to council reports. Councilor Oakleaf, can we start with, actually, no, Councilor Hurd, can we start with you?
Definitely. All right, so I was a busy Wednesday the 15th last week. I filled in for City Manager Wong at a meeting that gave an initial briefing to the member cities and towns of the Green Mountain Transit System, specifically about potential changes to how assessments are made on how municipalities pay into the service. So very high level. It's very early discussion, so not a lot of specifics to report out yet, beyond that the process will hopefully also drive up usage of the buses. Also, not initially a topic, but also came up in discussion, was ideas around alternative revenue and ways for member municipalities to support advocating for that alternative revenue. So hopefully some more info on that in the months to come as there are some more specifics. Also on Wednesday the 15th was the regular October meeting of the Inclusion and Belonging Commission. During the meeting, we discussed a recurring item on the chair. We will stick with a 6-month model. Membership is no longer dependent on residency, which aligns with our other commissions. And we also did initial discussion on group norms that will be continued at our next meeting in December. The December meeting will be on Zoom, 6 p.m. on the 17th.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
The Municipal Infrastructure Commission met last Thursday, the 16th, at a regular date and time. We welcomed our newest Inclusion and Belonging Ambassador, Bruce Steinmetz, during that meeting, and we also started the review of the comprehensive plan updates, looking at the vision statement as well as the 12 goals that are currently in the plan, which is fewer than some of the other goals for other key categories. I have a Chittenden Solid Waste District meeting on Wednesday this week on the 22nd. Meeting information, agenda item is online on their website. You can attend as a member of the interested community, online or in person.
Yes, thank you. Well, I had my first planning commission, which was fun. The entire commission was in attendance, which I understand hadn't happened for a while, so that was nice. They were discussing amendments to the Unified Land Use and Development Regulations. Get your pens ready. They talked about sections 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 4.7, 4.10, 4.11, 4.14, and 4.18, 5.1, 5.4, 5.14, 6.2, 6.3, and 6.66. Jenny, I have this all written down. Those sections cover gentle infill, accessory dwellings, ADU projects, blank wall depth allowance, landscaping standards, outdoor lighting, building orientation, and density limits. So it was a packed full meeting. They'll likely continue that discussion at their next meeting, which will be November 13th. In finance, the Director of City Planning came to the meeting to gather feedback on the updates to our comprehensive plan. So that was just an initial conversation. They talked a lot about affordability and the vibrancy sections of the comprehensive plan, as well as reusable energy and sustainability and equity within our economic development. So it was a really nice conversation. I think Ravi left with a lot to take down. And their next meeting will be November 11th. And then finally, a reminder that pumpkin carving sessions are coming up this week. This week, I wrote this last week. This week, so Tuesday from 10 to 4, and then 5 to 7. Wednesday from 9 to 12, and then from 5 to 8. And Thursday from 10 to 4, and then from 6 to 8 at the Winooski Senior Center. So you can join city staff and downtown Winooski staff on some of those days to carve pumpkins. Everything will be provided, so you don't have to bring any tools or just your ideas, really, and a desire to get a little messy with some pumpkins. On the Thursday carving session in the evening, I do believe DJ Craig Mitchell will be there with some music, so an extra fun pumpkins carving session. And that is all I have. Our new councilors, I know you don't have commissions, but if there's anything else you may want to update us on, this is your time. Councilor Goodrich.
I have no report at this time.
All right.
No reporter updates at this time.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. I'll turn to John for city. I should pause. Any comment from the public on any of our updates? All right. City updates.
Great, thanks. So, Mayor Thomas, thank you for covering the Halloween Winooski. So, Ray did ask for that plug as part of the city updates. If anyone didn't catch those dates, you can go to downtownwinooski.org, go to the events page, Halloween, and you'll find that entire schedule there. So, the only other update I have is a follow-up. So, as some of you are aware, there was a fire, a smaller kitchen fire that occurred, was this past Monday, I believe, or sorry, Friday morning it happened, that occurred at 26 Main Street. That is the Tika House restaurant building. So there are 9 apartments above that building. And as mentioned, luckily the sprinkler did control that fire in the kitchen, but unfortunately the sprinkler did require that the occupants of those apartments had to vacate. The fire department did provide an update today that 8 of the 9 occupants are back in those units, which is great. And the restaurant downstairs that was also impacted because of the sprinkler system, they do have to do some cleanup, and they are expected to be back in business around October 28th. So try to help them out if you can.
Yeah.
But that is all for updates on my end.
Great, thank you, John. So we'll move on to regular items. Our first item for approval is ratifying the special meeting on October 15th. For folks who do not know, there was a technical error that night where we were not able to fully provide the hybrid option. We were only able to record that meeting. So we need to ratify our minutes that happened in the conversations that happened that night. John, I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to add.
That's it. That's why I'm DJing this evening. So we got Zoom on one. And yeah, so
Perfect.
that's it.
Council, any comments? No? All right, in that case, seek a motion to ratify the special October 15th meeting.
A motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. And we will now need to take just a 5-minute break so that our newest councilor can be sworn in and can vote on the rest of the regular items. So it is 6:13. I will call us back at 6:18. Thank you. All right, it looks like we didn't quite need a full 5 minutes. We're good? All right. With that ratified, we're moving on to item B, public hearing. This is a public hearing for an ordinance update, Chapter 29, Trees and Shade Tree Preservation Plan. John.
Thanks. So this was introduced back at the September 15th meeting. Although this was sort of a long time coming, the Infrastructure Commission previously reviewed this at quite a few meetings. Ultimately, the purpose is to update our 2019 ordinance to the current state tree laws that actually passed back in 2020. So the primary changes to this ordinance are using definition of a shade tree and implementing a shade tree preservation plan. So luckily we've got a lot of really really good folks in the community that work for DEC and are professionals in this field, and they created a tree committee and really drafted most of this new language. So what you'll see in there is mostly language that was drafted by the tree committee, and we also had a Winooski student that used this as a capstone and brought this to Infrastructure Commission. So very much a community-led ordinance. So tonight is a public hearing just to collect any feedback, and then the intent would be to bring it back to you all at the next meeting for potential approval.
Perfect. Thank you. Before we open up the public hearing, do councilors have any questions or comments?
I just wanted to call it that this, the effort for this began as a capstone project from our Inclusion and Belonging ambassador to the Infrastructure Commission. So, reiterating that as a very cool opportunity for our Winooski students to get involved and engaged, and that we, this helped move it along a lot faster than it might have otherwise with the capital projects going on in and around the city. So just really grateful for that work and opportunity that Leo put into this with former Deputy Mayor Jim Duncan as well. And our chair for our Infrastructure Commission, Michelle Metzler, is here, and that came, we were presented with the updates at that commission this past winter, and the group voted unanimously on moving the updates forward for council review. So, Michelle can add any additional thoughts or insights as you like, but just wanted to give that additional context of the progress on this to date.
Thank you very much for
Sure.
that. Yeah, I think that, I mentioned this at our last time we heard about this, but tree and tree cover and all the other benefits that trees provide, for both of your knowledge, has been something that council's been hearing a lot more about than I think we have, at least during my tenure. So this comes at a very timely moment. Any comments from the public as we are in a public hearing? Deputy Mayor.
Hello, Council. Thank you, Mayor. My name is just Jim Duncan at this point, Mayor, but I really appreciate you making me aware, making time for this public hearing. I'm a resident. I live on Hall Street. I've served as the chair of the Winooski Ad Hoc Tree Committee for maybe 7 years. I was trying to tabulate that back during my prep time here, and have been involved for a couple of years prior to that. I did help draft the first ordinance and worked on this update with Leo and others. And in my day job, I work for a state agency that manages forests, but I want to be clear, I'm not here in official capacity. And while I've worked in forest research and science and forestry for 10 years, I'm not a forester or arborist, and want to make that clear as well. But I am here to speak in favor of the updated tree ordinance. This update to the ordinance is long overdue, partly through my fault for not getting it done, but it's overdue, and it's going to greatly sharpen and improve management of trees in the city. It takes advantage of some very deliberate changes in the tree warden statutes, as mentioned by the Public Works Director, and improves our ability to serve the public's interests in trees more effectively and more clearly than I think our previous ordinance did. So I really do think this is a strong update. We know, as you alluded to, we've got decades of research showing the benefits of trees for reducing air pollution, improving water quality, reducing the impacts of heating from climate change, and especially in urban areas, and slowing down stormwater, and increasing property values, and generally improving our lives. So we know that these things really do adhere in just a couple of stems in a sidewalk, and it really makes a big difference. And I think that this ordinance will really help us better manage that. Importantly, as was mentioned, the shade tree preservation plan is a key part of this, and it really takes this beyond complying with statute and enables us to manage not only the trees we've planted, but the trees that we think of as city trees, as public right-of-way trees, and gives a very clear process for managing those trees, maintaining their health, replacing them when they're gone, and involving the public when needed in those decisions about management of trees. So I think it's a really critical the preservation plan is a really critical piece of this, and I think it really brings a lot of strength to that public interface we have with our trees. I look around, I see a lot of great efforts being done every day to put new trees on our streets. Main Street is a great example. It's really encouraging to see all of these trees lining this brand new infrastructure we've invested millions of dollars into. I know not all of them will survive, but many of them will, and probably a lot of them will outlive me. So that's been really encouraging to see. And when I look at an ordinance like this and the commitment the city is going to make to managing trees using something like this, I'm really encouraged and heartened. And I think that people in Winooski will appreciate it now and 20, 30, 50 years from now. So that's my public comment on this. I'm also happy to answer any questions you have about specific pieces if I can, although John knows this inside and out. But happy to answer questions, but mostly just wanted to provide comment and support, and thank you for considering it.
Thank you very much, Jim. And I think technically you're always the honorable counselor even once you leave, but Jim's good. I just thank you so much for the work that you've done on this. Like you said, it's been a long time and a lot of work, and a lot of great folks have come together to help you with it and move with you as you've done this. But I do want to recognize that you've been such a leader in it, so thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Jim, just a question that came up during our September introductory meeting. There was a question about the ANSI standards and the degree to which those go into detail about watering. It seems like the draft language in the ordinance tonight refers to adequate watering, and was curious if you know any more detail about where to find more specificity on how to interpret that.
I do not. I'm going to look to John here because I know we had a book of ANSI standards at one point. It's not something you can look up online. You have to purchase them.
Yep.
And so I don't know the specifics about what the ANSI standards for watering are. But because there are standards for those, if I remember right, the reasoning for saying adequate watering is that way to refer back to what's considered adequate according to standards. So I don't know what the standards include,
okay.
but that would be a good question for the ANSI standards.
Okay.
And I don't know, John, if you know anything more than that.
We had a subscription to that. I'll have to check in and see. There's like a annual subscription to ANSI, so we can log back in and see if we have that. I'm sure it's like a gallons per root ball size, or I don't know offhand, but we can find out.
It was just a question that came up last month. Wanted to make sure we revisited that, but that was the only one that I have for you.
I was wondering actually on the designation of shade trees, how the diameter was determined. Like, is that based on other trees in the area? Is that land that they're in?
Yep, that's a good question. So the, let's get back to those designation levels. Are you interested in particular categories or all of them?
I think just what the metric was that, was used.
Yeah, sure. So generally, there's a range of sizes by which we consider a tree. It can be measured when it's usually about 4.5 feet high. It can be 3 inches, 3.5 inches, 4 inches, or 5 inches, depending on which system you're looking at. So 3.5 inches was considered a good marker for a tree that's matured into being a pretty invested tree. Usually, if you're planting a tree, it's going to be at 2 inches or smaller. So by the time it's grown to 3.5 inches, it's gained enough size and height that it's going to be a pretty established tree, and not as likely to have failed at planting or have been knocked over because it's too flimsy. So I think the 3.5 inches was seen as a fairly low end of what calls a tree. If you're out in the forest, foresters will usually call it a 4 or 5, and then everything below that is a sapling or a seedling. For the park trees, we really created these two classes based on whether the park has a managed area or not. So if you look at Landry Park or Casavan Park, where they have these planted or like more manicured landscaped portions, and then these more wild-grown portions. 6 inches was chosen as a tree, again, that's kind of achieved a certain size that makes it manageable as a tree instead of as more like undergrowth, and avoids having to write a public notice for every single box elder that's going to fall over and needs to be removed. So it's a larger size class for those planted areas in the parks, and then the 9 inches for the unplanted areas, again, is trying to avoid having to do public notice for smaller trees that maybe are fast growing in diameter but haven't achieved an overstory status that will give them longer life. So you see a lot of trees in the understory and the park areas that are between 6 and 9 inches that they're providing some benefit, but they're not at the same level as an overstory mature tree that's providing a lot of canopy cover. So it's more based on a kind of general sense of trees from the committee members. It's not based on those particular properties, but that's the reason that we chose 6 and 9 inches.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Any other public comment in the room? All right, I will turn to online. If you are on Zoom and you would like to add to this discussion, ask a question or make a comment, if you could just use the raise hand feature. All right, seeing nothing there, I will close this public hearing on the ordinance update for Chapter 29, Trees and Shade. Council, we will see a vote on this at our next meeting.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item is a discussion approval, City of Winooski Champlain Housing Trust Fund Winooski Home Improvement Program Memorandum of Understanding. Jasmine.
Would it be, should I speak up now, recusing?
Yes.
Okay, so I will be recusing myself from this item and regular item D, the Housing Trust Fund Policy Guidelines updates, due to my employer's representation of Champlain Housing Trust and our prospective involvement with this program.
Thank you very much for letting us know.
All right, good evening. Nice to meet you both. My name's Jasmine. And then I'm going to introduce Travis and Becca. Travis is the Associate Director of Lending and Home Ownership, is that right? Yeah. At CHT, and Becca is the Home Repair Loan Lending Manager. So I'll give a bit of a background. I'm going to expand a little bit for the benefit of you two as well. So the Winooski Housing Trust Fund supports affordable housing through 4 programs that serve homeowners, landlords, and developers. Tonight we'll be discussing 3 of them, starting with the Home Improvement Loan program. This program assists low and moderate income homeowners in making essential repairs that improve health, safety, accessibility, and energy efficiency, and helps to maintain Winooski's existing housing stock. While the program has been a valuable resource, it's also proven difficult for staff to manage. The current application process is lengthy, legally complex, and requires coordination across almost every department. And as a result, no loans have been issued. I think, Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 10 years? Angela just stays back there. She's like a voice. She's a voice in the sky.
That's about right.
Okay. So Champlain Housing Trust, CHT, which already operates a successful regional home repair program, approached the city about partnering to streamline this work that we were both doing separately. Their program typically issues about 27 loans per year, not just in Winooski, but county, right? Yeah. Regionally? Tri-County, okay. And they offer flexible terms, very low interest rates, whereas our program is market rate interest, and then deferred payment options for lower income households. So over the past year, city staff and CHT have worked together to develop a partnership proposal. Under this arrangement, the city would allocate a set amount of Housing Trust Fund dollars each year to CHT, who would then administer and service all Winooski home repair loans at no cost to the city. Loans would range from $3,000 to $25,000 and it'd be available to homeowners earning up to 80% of the area median income. And all repaid funds would stay within Winooski to help support future home repair projects. CHT would provide annual reports to the city, which staff will summarize for City Council, along with a yearly recommendation for continued funding allocations. This partnership will simplify the administration, expand the program reach, and better support homeowners in need of these repairs. Staff and the Housing Commission both recommend that City Council authorize the city manager to sign an MOU with CHT and allocate $50,000 to launch the program. So that's just a bit of a background. Happy to answer any more background questions if that's helpful. And then obviously, we're all here for additional questions.
Well, thank you to the two of you for being here. Jasmine, thank you for that review. You know, this program is something that I think is so important to the housing, the overall housing mission that council's been laying out for the past few years, and continues the trajectory on. And obviously, having a program that we're not able to administer doesn't really help anybody. So, appreciate staff coming to us with this proposal. You know, the city has partnered with Champlain Housing Trust on so many projects and other initiatives. So I am eager to hear from the both of you. If you want to share anything with us before we get into questions from councilors.
I just want to say thank you to Jasmine and Angela for all the work they've done to get us to this point. You know, we've had a lot of meetings, a lot of calls. I know they've done a lot more work in the background than we have, so we're just very thankful for everything they've done to kind of help us out. And I know we're both very excited to be partnering with Winooski on another really important project. So I thought the memo that Angela and Jasmine put together kind of summarizes what we're talking about really well. So we're just kind of happy to answer any questions you all have.
Angela's name was not put on this. She also helped.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I will open up to councilors for questions that they may have.
I have a kind of a quick one, just to get more of a sense of how CHG has found this program. The money that the city would be putting in, it states, is the maximum for like 2 loans at that max. Do you think it will be 2 loans at that max, or do you kind of see several smaller loans, or is it kind of too early to tell?
Yeah.
I would say it's probably too early to tell. We really only extend the amount that people need. So if it's less than, you know, we just lend what people need, and it's based on bids and from contractors. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think of the recent project that we did in Winooski. We did a radon mitigation system that was like $2,000. So like, there is potential for the $50,000 to go.
Yeah. And average project size that we've done with our program in the Tri-County area has been about $11,000 to $12,000. So, you know, while $25,000 is the maximum, in all likelihood it would be more than 2 projects. There's also like a section in the MOU that we kind of drafted that the city staff has looked at that would allow us to request additional funds if they're available and there's like obvious excess demand over what we've previously agreed on. So there's some opportunity to kind of expand that a little bit if the need is there, and also if the funding is there. Obviously, no promises or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, and then I think we would also reassess annually. So, you know, if $50,000 was allocated for this first go around, and you know, maybe only 10 was spent down, then, you know, maybe next year the allocation is just 10. You know, it doesn't need to be 50 every time. I think just keeping it at like a stable amount, unless we discover that there's a huge amount of need, and, you know, maybe the fund has, you know, a big deposit from an inclusionary zoning payment in lieu, for example. You know, there are a lot of different scenarios that could impact that, but I think having that flexibility will be best, especially for, you know, a newer partnership.
Yeah, and I do think it's probably helpful for folks to know that, right, this is money that either we have already set it aside for this fund, and then it's coming from fees like you just mentioned, or with the short-term rentals, so this isn't coming from taxpayers.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, we're at about $405,000 now, and none of that's been spent down, at least for the past 5 years.
Yeah, so, and this has been a consistent issue, I think, for past 4 years I've been on the council, so exciting to see hopefully some more movement on that.
I sent a number of questions ahead of time. Sorry. I know there was an effort to get them from us earlier than
That's okay. I figured there would be questions.
That was unfortunately the best I could do with my own schedule. So thanks for getting back to those so thoroughly and with more than 2 hours before council, so I had a chance to skim your responses. So thank you for that. I I am curious, there was a comment in your follow-up, Jasmine, that if, I think it was like if more money was needed, I might try and see if I can find it in the email. Or like if we were to discontinue
Mm-hmm.
the partnership for some reason, it relates to the 90 days.
Oh,
90-day notice.
Uh-huh.
And that they would need, CHT, you have indicated that you would need a longer off-ramp to close projects, but also to potentially find additional funding. And I think I was a little, I wasn't sure what was meant by find additional funding.
There's a not overly tedious process, but not very simple process for us to move funding for a project from one bucket to another. And so it'd just be a matter of accounting for how much funding we have in these other buckets. It's probably gonna be plenty. And then working with our finance team to reallocate funding for this project from one place to another. You know, once a project goes under commitment, we're committing funds from a particular source for that project. And so there's just a matter of being able to kind of potentially unwind that if we have to. You know, Winooski's not the only source of funding for the program. You know, we have HUD funding, and then HUD repayments that we can also use towards these projects. So if the relationship dissolves, there is other funding we could move those projects towards. There's just, you know, as much time as we have to kind of move things around, the better.
Okay, I guess clarifying question for that then is, in a way, we are contributing. It's and I think it's a framing thing, which is why I might be confused. Is well, we're entering into this MOU. We're really agreeing to some broad overarching terms that we would like to prioritize, but generally speaking, we're directing funds towards a program that fits and aligns with your structure.
Mm-hmm.
And so that if that partnership were to dissolve for some reason, the ability for Winooski residents to access those that opportunity wouldn't necessarily dissolve. It would just still continue through your program with your terms rather than
just different funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
That's helpful. It's not as though it's something that would be lost to current residents.
No.
Okay. That is very helpful framing.
Sure.
I was a little lost with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, it's really more like we're both doing almost the same thing separately, and you know, we have been struggling to get people to participate in our program with the terms how they are right now. So it felt kind of like a no-brainer to work together to see, you know, they already have, you know, a full staff of people who are administering these loans, managing all these projects, and you know, we were struggling to process these really, really complicated applications. So it just made sense to be able to, you know, amplify our funds in a way that they were already doing.
That context helps so much more now. I think leading up to this, I missed that it was redundancy. I thought it was a truly new partnership where we were asking CHT to take over operation of our program, not that you were operating your own already.
Oh, yeah.
So that is really helpful context. So I thanks for helping me through with that.
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Is the application process that exists at CHT less cumbersome, or is it that because you all have been doing this for X amount of years, it is maybe just the wheels are greased a little bit more? Not to say that the folks at Winooski aren't obviously incredible at it.
Yeah, I think the second
Yeah.
choice. Yeah, it's just something that we've been doing,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
If you do it every day, you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
we get like one
Efficiency.
application
Yeah.
once a year, and then it's like, well, this one's different than the last one,
Yeah.
and you know.
And you know, you were previously partnering with Opportunities, and we have licensed mortgage loan originators on our staff, and so we can do all of that stuff in-house instead of having to farm it out. We can also do all the site inspections ourselves. We have a construction consultant that we use already that will come out to the site with us, so it kind of moves everything just into one central location.
And because of that, it also makes it less cumbersome for the applicants.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Another question? No? All right, hearing that I think we're all in alignment and enjoying this program.
I did want to add another comment.
Oh, certainly.
Section 1F, so it looks like the attorney's preferred word choice was to avoid doubt. I feel more comfortable with real or perceived conflicts of interest. It feels like it's more general jargon and terminology for an MOU and for a partnership and agreement. But if that is not able to be changed, then it's not necessarily something that I would abstain on or vote no on. But it just, in terms of general language that feels more familiar in agreements, that's something that I would advocate for changing.
So I'm always preferential to going with what the attorney tells us to say.
It was our attorney that wrote that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess, can we approve this and ask our attorney about the counselor's thoughts and if they're okay with it to go with that language?
I'm fine with that. Is that fine, John?
We've done that previously with other agreements.
Does that work with
Yeah, it works for me.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't, but thank you for asking.
All right. Well, I didn't ask before and I started
No, but
trying to
again,
move things.
thank you for getting back to the questions so thoroughly.
Yeah, it was very nice to see them all highlighted, and I like
Good
that.
prep before the meeting.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming here. Appreciate you explaining everything to us. I will seek a motion then to approve what has been presented to us today.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those abstaining?
Stay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
We will move on to our next item then, discussion approval housing trust fund policy guideline update. Jasmine is staying with us.
Okay. So I mentioned the fact that we have 4 programs in the Housing Trust Fund. So this is about 3 of them, not the 4th one, which is called the core program. We will get into that in coming months. So these are amendments to the Housing Trust Fund policy guidelines that mostly sit like on our website, but are available to members of the public to read about our Housing Trust Fund programming, and we send it to anyone that's interested. It also just kind of serves as the running, policy guidelines that staff use internally for all of these 4 programs. So these changes are to align with the adjustments that we just discussed for the home improvement program. So mostly kind of, I tried to toe the line between including information, but also just linking the website for CHT, because I didn't want to just put nothing, a little bit of both. And then the other changes are related to the down payment assistance program and the interest rate buy down program. The down payment assistance program is, a down payment assistance that we offer to low to moderate income first-time home buyers in Winooski. And then the interest rate buy down is a little bit newer. I think that was passed in 2022. Kind of in light of high interest rates that are still high. And that is a buy down of the interest. So these are both programs that are tailored towards increasing homeownership opportunities, specifically for first-time homeowners. So currently, I guess maybe not anymore, but as of 5 minutes ago, all of the Housing Trust Fund programs operated out of Opportunities Credit Union, which is a great partner, but does not necessarily reach all of the low to moderate income first-time home buyers in the community. So we offer these 2 programs that they can market to their new home buyers, but not everyone who buys a home in Winooski is going to get their mortgage through Opportunities. So staff have been working closely with East Rise Credit Union to create a structure that would allow for them to offer both the Winooski DPA and the IRB programs to their mortgage holders. East Rise is Vermont-based, and I think last time Jenny told me was the most common mortgage holder in Winooski. I think probably countywide. So this partnership will help us reach more residents and better align our programs with typical banking practices. And then the hope is that, once we solidify this partnership, we will have the structure that's required to partner with other kind of larger institutions that have different requirements than we were required with opportunities. So the hope is that we could partner, with all of the local banks in the area that, are offering mortgages for people buying homes in Winooski, and anyone that is, income qualifying and buying in Winooski. The mortgage officers will have something that shows like they could be eligible for this program, and increase our reach a lot, which would be great. So all of these changes that are in here are essentially requirements, besides the HIP ones, are requirements that Eastrise has for us to align with their DPA program. So they do offer an in-house DPA program as well. The hope is that ours can be paired with theirs to increase, and amplify financial assistance for the first-time low to moderate income home buyers. And it also works because they have a second mortgage for their homeownership DPA. And so by pairing ours with that, we can kind of piggyback off of the enforcement mechanisms that they have through their program, which I believe is a 15-year owner occupancy requirement, which is a lot more than our 5 that we were traditionally using. So it works out well for us to be able to kind of align ours with that and have that enforcement, because I know that has always been a concern of ensuring that we're not funding people flipping properties, turning them into short-term rentals, or immediately moving out of them. So some of the changes include it would be now a $5,000 forgivable loan for buyers who stay in their home for at least 5 years. That's a little different. It was $4,000 loan with $1,000 that was forgivable. Again, this is just aligning with Eastrise's programs. They aren't able to service a loan for that small amount of money. So kind of having to make a few compromises. I think none of them really compromise the integrity of the program. They're just slight changes. And then for the interest rate buy down, Eastrise is not, and any other large-scale bank is not able to offer any sort of temporary rate buy down. It needs to be permanent. So this has changed the structure of the IRB to just a permanent grant. So a $5,000 grant for the buy down. It was not possible any other way. And then we were a little bit concerned through that process of like, how are we going to also have an owner occupancy requirement if there's no way to claw back the money if people move out, like we have with the DPA. So we determined that the best way to do that would be to require participation in the DPA. So in order to, participate in the IRB and get that interest rate buy down, you also need to participate in the DPA, which should be happening anyways because the eligibility is exactly the same for both. But that allows us to ensure that people who are participating in those are also going to be subject to those really firm owner occupancy requirements. And while that specific money may not get paid back because it is a grant, they would theoretically have to pay back the down payment assistance, and then also Eastrise's down payment assistance, which can be up to $14,000. So between the 3 of those programs, this would be about $24,000 of assistance for low to moderate income first-time home buyers in Winooski, and that's not including any of the VHFA funding, which could really bring this up towards like 60K, which is great. So if you approve these changes, then staff will continue working with Eastrise to develop a formal MOU, which will be brought back to council.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for all of that. I'll just turn it over to council for questions.
So in aligning this to Eastrise, but having the intention to try and partner with additional banks, I assume we're not gonna update this every time. Yeah, just to
it should be, it'll be a journey to figure it out. I think we'll have to see how different, because obviously we don't want to have like a different policy guideline for every bank. I mean, we could, but that would be a lot of work and confusing. I think if we were going to pick one that we wanted to work with anyways, it would be East Rise, because they're offering the most mortgages, so.
Gotcha. And does this have any effect on our opportunities? I'm blanking on what they are.
Green Mountain.
Green Mountain. Okay.
No, we have already amended our MOU with them maybe like 8 months ago to make it non-exclusive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And those would use these same requirements?
Yeah, I need to meet with the new executive director, CEO, whatever he is, and discuss it a little bit. But,
Okay.
I mean, these are more mainstream than what our other requirements were. Like the IRB was very non-traditional the way that we
Gotcha.
had negotiated it with opportunities, and I think they were a little hesitant for that structure, because again, it's confusing to not have a permanent rate buy down.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was curious, I didn't include this as a question beforehand, so if you need to, say you'll need to get more information later, that's fine. I was curious about to what extent the IRB and, the other
DPA, yeah.
the DPA, which of those would be considered a loan or have a loan element to it?
The DPA,
Okay.
because, well, it's a forgivable loan, so after 5 years, it's,
Okay.
yeah, a grant.
And have you talked to East Rise about, or opportunities for that matter, about the ability to meet, I might be getting it wrong, but halal lending?
Yeah, so, well, I've spoken with, it's North Country Federal Credit Union that has, I think their vice president who's been working on that, along with, I think they have pretty regular contact with CHT as well. They are the only bank that currently offers a halal compliant mortgage in Vermont, and I think it's $3,000. So obviously,
Okay.
it's not really, yeah. So, but they have been working on, exploring the opportunity of home loans. And I know there was a recent win that they weren't 100% sure that they could use that model along with the shared equity model, which, obviously they don't have to be exclusive, but ideally they would be able to work together. So people would be able to access affordable homeownership opportunity and access, a culturally relevant mortgage product simultaneously. And they did hear back, because there's a lot of banks that offer these kind of programs in Minnesota and other kind of Midwestern states, and they found out that they are able to be used together. So I think that was an exciting step forward. But it's definitely only them at this point. There's no other banks that are.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very, very administratively complex and potentially not profitable for the bank, which unfortunately is a big component. But there's definitely a group of people that are working on that, and I would, love to continue to have that be a priority as, hopefully the Armory project continues to move forward. Yeah, I know that we also have a pretty dedicated group through one of the mosques in Winooski that are also very engaged and excited about the opportunity of homeownership. So there's definitely some momentum, but.
Okay, great, thank you.
Would we prioritize maybe partnering with them next?
Yeah. That's a good point, yeah.
I only had a couple cleanup things, I think, and just to put them on the record, I have to look at my separate email. I just wanted to add the word efficiency to section 3A, 3B. I think it just says energy projects at the moment, and just add energy efficiency projects in there. I believe it says it elsewhere, and so it just would be for consistency. And then also in section 3 D. I've, through other things in my day job, it's usually best practice to try not, to avoid putting in a direct PDF link to documents that are static because they often break. So I think there's already a link in there to CHT's website, in which case just keeping that one and removing the direct link to the PDF as a way to avoid bouncing or potential break if that document is updated over time and the same URL pathway is not maintained. So it's just those two cleanup items.
Perfect. Anything else? All right, thank you, Ellen. All right, in that case, I will seek a motion to approve the Housing Trust Fund Policy Guideline updates, including the slight edits from Deputy Mayor Oakleaf.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstaining?
I abstain.
All right. No, did you?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
That was the letter.
No worries. Didn't hear you. All right, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's approved. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item, something I am very excited for. It's up to you if you'd like to get closer or not. But our finance director is here. Angela let slip to me that she has been working with the city for 20 years, which I don't even know how to begin to thank you for those years of service. All of the people in the city who you have helped, your amazing abilities to know what is going on with everything in Winooski, not just in your own department, but how it interacts with the many, many things that you do, is short of amazing. You've been of huge help to me, to everyone who has served on this board over the years, and to your colleagues. Former Mayor Christine Lott emailed me a little bit ago during this meeting because she wanted to share some comments. So I will start this off with sharing those. I had the pleasure of working with Angela for 7 years. Angela brings professionalism, deep financial skills and knowledge, and the utmost integrity to financial management and policy. She's kept our books on the up and up, and at the same time has been open to new ideas. I've seen her be vulnerable, fully engaging in community dialogue around the equity and inclusion, and innovate to make our systems more accessible. She brings deep care for this community, going above and beyond her job responsibilities to connect with community members, educate them on city finance, and solicit their input. Angela has been such a critical piece of the city's success over the past 2 decades, and I'm grateful to have worked with her and to have her continuing serving Winooski. Sincerely, Christine Lott. So, staff was able to draft a resolution at my request to recognize Angela's amazing service to the city, and I will now read that. Whereas, since 2005, Angela Aldieri has devoted 2 decades of service to Winooski, of which her deep-rooted dedication as a born and raised Winooskian, expertise, and connections continue to be tremendously valuable to the community. And whereas Angela's career in municipal government, beginning as a parking garage administrative assistant, advancing to staff accountant, and ultimately serving as finance director, demonstrates professional excellence and reflects Winooski's enduring legacy as Vermont's Opportunity City. And whereas Angela's educational achievements include both a bachelor's and master's degree in accounting, highlighted by her induction into Beta Gamma Sigma at the University of Vermont Grossman School of Business, one of the highest honors recognizing academic excellence and leadership in business and management. And whereas Angela provides municipal budgeting and accounting, reconciliation, accounts payable and receivable, payroll administration, financial statement preparation, grant acquisition and management, and risk fraud assessment with unparalleled excellence, meticulous attention to detail, accuracy, and transparency. And whereas Angela's career includes many significant milestones, including resolving a $1 million deficit implementing sound financial practices that transform the city's audits from unsuccessful to consistently clean since 2013. Playing a central role, the city's long history of voter-approved budgets, managing and completing the city's vital tax increment finance program, which revitalized the downtown. Creating Winooski's first municipal payment plan system to alleviate tax and utility payment hardships for residents. Modernizing the city's water meter reading and billing systems, developing a widely praised and newsworthy budget activity that educates residents on the use of tax dollars. And whereas Angela's regional leadership as board president of the Vermont Government Finance Officers Association and as a board member of the New England States Government Finance Officers Association positions Winooski at the forefront of setting standards and advancing excellence in public finance leadership. And whereas Angela's service as staff liaison to the Winooski Finance Commission has fostered sustained community engagement, creating opportunities for residents to participate in local government and advancing the city's strategic vision for economic vitality. And whereas Angela provides exceptional support to city staff through administrative functions, consistently demonstrating a kind and approachable demeanor, offering professional guidance and practical assistance to colleagues, and contributing invaluable institutional and historical knowledge that informs decision-making and strengthens the city's operational effectiveness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Winooski City Council, city staff, and residents celebrate Angela's 20 years of dedicated service to the community, honoring not only her sustained commitment and exemplary accomplishments, but also her role in mentoring colleagues and creating pathways for professional development within the city's workforce. Angela, thank you so very much. I will offer a moment for any staff or fellow council members to say any more glowing things about Angela.
I'll jump in first. I know this is painful for Angela, but this resolution probably doesn't even cover everything that you do for us. So as a colleague, I greatly appreciate you. You are the bedrock of this organization. You're kind of our secret weapon that makes this organization so great. So your breadth and depth of knowledge is amazing. I can talk to you about anything in public works, which is crazy as a finance director. Like, she knows, she's our historian. She is just everything. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you, John.
Definitely a team effort. You can't do anything alone here. Everything involves every member of this team.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just so appreciated, so seen. Like, I cannot tell you how many times it's like, okay, Angela, do you have the answer? Through some really sticky budget situations too, and trying and making it understandable, and that additional extra shout out to the budget activity too, which has just been so valuable, I think, for residents and for council to have that information. So I can't even, so many thank yous. I can't even start.
I can't think of how many times we've said, oh, well, Angela says so. So then I don't have any more questions. I know that Angela's done all the research. Yeah.
And I would say that since I've been on council, just seeing how much you've innovated through a pandemic and through challenges with large capital projects, through being very strategic about how we bond and how we invest money, to leverage interest rates. That has been really exciting to see and experience with you over these last years. So I'm honored to be able to work with you and to continue to work with you in your role. Thank you.
Anyone else in the room?
Yeah, I would just have, I think of those in the room closest tethered to the before times, just seeing how you have moved us to clean audits from a time when things were not so clean and there were a confidence that we all have in our budgets and the work we're doing because of the work you do behind the scenes is huge. Personally, for me, it's been 13 years working with you, and thank you for teaching me a ton. I came in as a know-nothing former nonprofit employee and feel really like you've taught me a tremendous amount. And like John said, not just about finances, but you know where everything is, who everybody is, why they did what they did when. And I think just having that in-house knowledge is huge. So I appreciate it every single day. So thank you.
And I appreciate working so closely with Angela. Our two teams, clerks and finance, we work together on a lot, and I really appreciate Angela's knowledge and how we can continue to improve our efficiencies.
There's no need for ChatGPT.
Thank you, everybody. Any comments from folks in the public online? All right. Well, Angela, thank you so very much. Can I get a motion to approve the language of this resolution?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And on to our next item. We get to invite Angela up here for discussion and approval on a Winooski Small Business Loan Fund Main Street Construction Impact Loan Program application.
So this was the fourth application that we had received. Ongle, who is the owner of US Sherpa International, was unavailable at the first set of interviews we had done. We met as the Small Business Loan Committee on October 10th, which was not properly warned, but we re-met on October 14th to review his application. The application scored a 14 out of the 18 points, and we are recommending approval of the award as requested. That is a $20,000 Tier 1 requiring no collateralization from the city.
Thank you very much, Angela. Yeah, this applicant, as you said, looks like a great applicant, has been proven so by the bank and by the committee. I don't have any further questions. If council also does not have any further questions, in that case, I'll seek a motion to approve the loan of $20,000 to this Tier 1 applicant.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, that brings us to our final item of the night, City Council Member Liaison Assignments. So, to all of those watching, you will see this is a very different table than just a few meetings ago. As everyone will recall, former Mayor Lott stepped down, which made me the then Deputy Mayor the Mayor, freeing up the commission I sat on, Safe, Healthy, Connected People, as I have to take the Planning Commission seat. And Councilor Judge, the following meeting, stepped down, and he was on the Housing Commission. So we have two new councilors with us, so we're very thankful that you're here. We've got a full table, and we have some new, we have some commissions that at least need to be either assigned or everything kind of put up in the air. What we do know is, as mayor, I have to take the Planning Commission. Mayor Lott was also on the Finance Commission, and I did attend. No worries. And I did attend one of their meetings. That said, if anybody is really hunkering for finance, we can discuss that. My thought is that we can visit all of our commissions. We don't just have to visit the ones that have been vacated as a result of the movement. But I'm happy to not do that if folks just want to look at Safe, Healthy, Connected People, finance, housing,
Downtown?
Yes.
and downtown
So
Winooski.
it's called out here, I think, as economic vitality, but is that
Yeah,
intended to mean?
I think that's intended to mean downtown Winooski, which is where I also sat. They're not a technical commission in the historic sense, but we do have a council member who goes to the downtown Winooski meetings and reports back to council and kind of helps them in the work that they do. I think that's enough from me. I'll open up to everybody else to hear your thoughts.
I would be open to, just so I'm understanding this, I would be open to sitting, on Safe, Healthy, Connected People, if
Okay.
there's an opening there. And I'd also be open to sitting with downtown Winooski.
Okay.
Um,
I guess where we can start, Councilors Hurd and Oakley, do you like well, we all like all the commissions. Would you like to maintain on the commissions that you have at this moment, or would you like to also put those up in the air for us to discuss? And there's no wrong answer here.
I would prefer to keep inclusion and belonging.
Perfect. Infrastructure.
I've been enjoying infrastructure, but if there's strong emotions, Elsie, let me know.
All right, so, and Elsie, that would leave you with housing,
Which is my preference.
which is your preference. All right, so this was very quick and easy. So, so Safe, Health, Connected People, and downtown, and Elsie, housing. I will let those commission chairs and staff liaisons know. Al, your staff liaison is here, so he does know, but I'll still send an email. I'm not sure when their next meetings are, so I'll have them follow up with you on that.
Finance.
I'll just stay on finance.
Okay.
From what doesn't seem that they meet a ton, so I think it will be.
And actually, next month, it's a joint meeting with infrastructure.
Yeah. And like I said, I already went to one of their meetings, so happy to just keep that as that was something that Christine did. All right. Well, you made that all very easy. I don't technically think we need to. I'll do a motion anyway. A motion for Al to take Safe, Healthy, Connected People in downtown Winooski, and for Elsie to take housing, and for me to be on planning and finance.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. The time is 7:15. We are now done with today's city council meeting. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
Do we have to?
Move to adjourn.
Oh, yeah. I would like a motion to do all the things I just said.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Everybody have a good night.